How's this brain working? How's it going during this time? I wanted to give you an opportunity to look at how your brain works, how your brain operates. Um, Last time I had talked about habits, how our brain likes habits. This is it's just a very efficient way for it to be. It doesn't like to change, doesn't like to do new things, doesn't want to make a decision about something new. So it might be wrong, might be scary, might be dangerous. Let's just stick with what we know, right? This is what the brain likes to do. Um, Now, one thing that you can do if you want to. Here is an interesting challenge. I did this with myself, and it was very useful for me, very, very helpful, which is that one of the habits that our brain likes to have is we like to have things that we worry about, or we like to have, um, not just worry about, but we like to have the same thoughts over and over and over again. It's very efficient to keep replaying the same thoughts. Now, some of these thoughts are good thoughts or thoughts that are useful, thoughts that we like. Some of these thoughts are not useful, thoughts that we don't really like. But they are both useful and efficient to us to have them all the time. And what you might notice for yourself, if you were to look back at yourself over time and to see, well, what are the thoughts that I have in my life? And one of the really interesting things, and this is back to the idea that your brain likes to just do the same thing over and over again, keep it self efficient, is that your thoughts are likely very much the same over time. The circumstances of your life might have changed, but your thoughts over time are very likely similar. So if you are a person who worries about money, you might notice that there's been times in your life when you've worried about money and you've had money. You've worried about money and you didn't have money. You got a great job, you loved the job, it was super secure, you worried about money. You lost the job, weren't sure what your next job was, you worried about money. The circumstance changed, but the concern, the worry, the way you think about money, the way you deal with it is sort of the same all the way through because it's a comfortable, easy habit. I've done this for myself. One of my constant thoughts and as I think about my body, what my body looks like, if I like um, my body image, it's to this or to that or this sort of thing. And I had an aunt who really helped me with this at one point in time. Um, she has spent most of her adult life being very overweight. And I was at her house once and I was looking at her wedding picture, her beautiful wedding picture when she was very, very young. She got married very, very young. Um, and, she's beautiful and amazing and standing there with her husband that she's still married to today. And she said, that girl felt exactly the same about her body uh, then as I do now. This tiny, I don't know, she looked like she was a size 4 or something. She was this tiny, um, thin person that anybody would say she was so, by our standards, in life of what we call beautiful and perfect little body and everything. But she felt exactly the same way inside. She had the same thoughts then as she did, when I knew her many, many years later. And noticed for myself, I could go back and look at pictures of myself and I'd look into it and I could see the picture maybe objectively and think, oh yeah, she looks just fine, she being me. But I could hear what my thoughts were about myself at that time. And they were the same. It didn't matter how my body externally changed, my internal thoughts were exactly the same. The reason why I bring this up right now And where I went into this exercise right now is because right now we're in is this extraordinary circumstance, right? Things are heightened right now. We feel a heightened sense of emotion right now because our normal systems, our normal ways of operating are very different. And but what you can look and see is to see, well, everything around me is operating in a very different way. I still, and check and see if this is true for you. I know it was true for me. I still have the same worries and concerns. I still have the same good thoughts and the same bad thoughts, the same useful thoughts and unuseful thoughts. Now, I know for me, I am spending time like letting myself go into some of those unhelpful thoughts, those unuseful thoughts, like, oh yeah, this is just everything is falling apart and we're all emotional and terrible. Like, of course, I'm going to let myself wallow in those unuseful thoughts. Um, it's like somehow this permission to go there even more. And that's all right. I mean, we're not going to be critical of that, but you can take an opportunity to see, oh, these really aren't any different. They're kind of coming at me in an intense way right now because when we're faced with a lot of change, our brain starts firing off in its old habits and its old ways as a protection mechanism. We know how to think like this. We know how to be worried about these things or to be happy about these things or to ignore these things or to focus on these things. So I found it very useful just to kind of look at some of those things, to write them down for myself and see, yeah, I'm still worried about my kid who likes to be on the computer a ton. And every time he's on there, I think, am I being a good parent or a bad parent? But you know what? I was thinking that way before this even happened. And, I was managing my life in terms of being a good parent versus being a working mom, working or, a lot of these things that they are really the same. And this gave me some space to say, okay, it's not about the world today. These are the things that I like to think about. And I like to, and some of those are good. So, like for me, money is something I spend time with, but I generally take the approach that it's going to be okay. It's going to work out. So, I'm not I'm good with not looking at my retirement account right now. It's all right. It's a long-term plan. And I know other people are like looking at it and freaking out about it. But that's just how I was before. I take care of it and then I move on. Um, I'm not a 5 o'clock news watcher, wasn't before, not now. I dip into news to take it and get a little grain of it and then walk away from it. I don't have to be on it forever and ever and ever. So, but this is how I was before, though, too. And those things I'm going to continue with because they're useful for me. Some of my other thoughts, getting a chance to see, oh, right, this is just how I operate. Do I want to continue with it? Then I can start to ask that question and play with that question. But just see for yourself how, oh, I know the other piece I want to put in there. I knew I was rambling for a reason. The reason is that the other piece that's true for this is whatever tools that you used to help you with your unhelpful thoughts, let's say, or your helpful thoughts, whatever tools that you used, you still have access to those tools now. Now, you might be thinking, no, I use tools of other people or things like that. But ultimately, the tool really started with you. It started in here. It anchored in you that said, I can see the happy things, or Sorry, I was distracted by my camera, got weird on me. Um, you have the resources of coping, the resources of taking care of yourself. They start in you. Now, you may have then accessed some external thing. And so today you're going to you find a different way to access those external things. But it always still started in you. And you still have that. And you're doing a really great job. Take care of yourself. You're doing amazing. I'd love to hear from you because this is what I like, is to help people out. I love to hear from you. How's it going? How are those thoughts? How are you treating yourself? Take really good care. See you next time.